What's up guys, Ghost here, and today I'm going to be going over some of the advantages and drawbacks of using laser sights on your weapon, and which situations you want to be using a laser sight in, and which ones you don't. But first of all, before I begin the main meat of the video, just let me say Merry Christmas to you guys. I hope you had a fantastic time, whether you were spending your time with friends, family, your spouse, your children, whoever it may be. I hope you had a fantastic time, surrounded by loving people. And hopefully, if you do celebrate Christmas, you got some presents that you really wanted. So with that said, let's get our teeth into the main chunk of the video. And of course, it's going to be beginner tips, because I'm sure we are joined here today, hopefully, by some newer players after the Christmas season to Battlefield 4. So, do go easy on them, guys. Don't be too harsh. Now, laser sights. These have always been attachments that have taken some understanding. If you go and read the tooltip for them within the loadout screen, DICE doesn't really give any indication that they do have some negative impact on your position within the game and how enemies perceive you. All it will tell you is that it increases your hip fire and that it will help you to blind enemies. So if a new player goes ahead and reads that, he's got to think, oh, that sounds fantastic, I can pick whatever colour I like, I can have these flashy 3 red dots, I can have green, I can have red, fantastic, let's go ahead and use that. But what they don't necessarily tell you about is some of the negative drawbacks that using a laser sight can have, which I do find to be a little bit odd. If you look at some of the other weapon attachments, such as suppressors, it will obviously state there that using a suppressor will make you disappear on the minimap when you fire your weapon, but at the same time, it will increase bullet drop and it will reduce the velocity of your weapon as well, and of the bullets that you're firing. So I've been doing a little bit of testing, and just to show you guys from somebody else's perspective, I've got Paolo here helping me out and showing off his lovely red flashy laser beam for me in game. I've got my UI turned off, and I'm going to show you guys a few situations where you can really give yourself away to the enemy. So here we have Paolo in the ticket booth, an absolutely classic position, and I can just about see his head and the top part of his shoulders. Now, you can really notice the difference when he turns on the laser sight. It's glaring me in the face, I can instantly tell that there is an enemy over there, but when he has it turned off, there's no knowing really if there are going to be explosions around me, other players, allies firing, enemies firing, etc. I'm not necessarily going to notice him head glitching over there in that specific position, and having the laser sight turned on against an enemy at such a range is certainly not going to be doing him any favours. So here's another common situation. You've got a smoke down in front of an area, you put it there to try and blind the person within the ticket booth. Perhaps you're trying to cover a certain angle so that you can get your team across, especially on a close quarters map like Metro. And you can see the difference here. If he turns on his laser sight, he lights up like a Christmas tree. I can pinpoint exactly where he is. I'm easily going to be able to take him down, and he has not a clue where I am. Just look at the difference as he throws this second smoke and turns his light off. I don't have a clue that anybody's there. With the laser sight on, you can 100% pinpoint where they're aiming at you from. So what about in some situations with a bit longer range and better lighting? The better the lighting in the area, the less the laser light is going to show. So we've got Paolo up there in the window, he's just firing so that you guys know where he is. And if I wasn't looking over there, I would have no idea that there was anybody there. As soon as he turns on his laser pointer, despite the fact that he's really far away, I can notice a distinct little red dot over there. It's not blinding, it's not particularly strong, but I can still notice it nevertheless. Now, as I get a little bit closer, we're maybe, 50, 60 meters away at this point, the glare gets a little bit more strong. So again, at this range, I'm definitely going to notice that intensity of a glare coming from that window, and perhaps even before that person has fired at me, I'm going to be able to get behind cover, or perhaps even fire a shot at him first. And once again, him having a laser light at this range is not going to help him at all. There is not a chance in hell that he's going to be able to kill me with hip fire at that range. You can see with the smoke, once I come out of the other side, you can clearly see the red dot. In fact, I would go so far as to say that you can see it better through the smoke than when the smoke isn't there at all. Now, there are of course 2 other laser sights, the tri-beam laser and the green laser sight, and mostly they're just for aesthetics, but we thought we'd try them out and see which of them is the most noticeable, at least outdoors. So I would say that the green laser sight in this situation with this lighting is a little bit less noticeable. And actually Paolo was telling me whilst we recorded this that according to level cap, he thinks it gives the enemy player a little bit less reaction time because they associate green with friendly or an ally and they won't shoot at them right away. But as you can see, once he switches here up to the tri-beam laser, I would definitely say that this is the worst of all of them. It seems to be similar to the red laser sight, but it also protrudes in a linear manner horizontally to the sides much more than the regular red laser beam does. So here we have one final situation where you will frequently be accused of being a hacker by a lot of new players, and that is because they don't realize that their laser sight is visible around corners even though the other player isn't looking at them directly. So even though you want to have laser light equipped in this situation for better hipfire if you peek around that corner, you don't want to aim at those metal cabinets in this situation, because the enemy on the other side is obviously going to see your laser and be aware of your presence. What you want to do is aim at the wall closest to the corner as you edge around an ADS or indeed hipfire. So here's Paolo coming around the corner whilst aiming at the metal lockers, and as you see, I can see him a mile off. And here he comes whilst aiming straight at the wall. So these are definitely some situations that you need to have in mind when you're playing Battlefield 4. You have to be aware that although the laser sight may look fairly minuscule to you, from your opponent's point of view, you can really be giving yourself away and giving him an easy kill in the process. Now you can hit T on PC on the keyboard to toggle your laser light on or off. If you do play on PC, I would really recommend getting used to doing this, toggling it off whenever you don't need it to be on. If you're in a close quarters situation, toggle it on when you're rounding the corner perhaps, but apart from that, if you're not going to be needing it, maybe you're playing Conquest Large, there's a lot of range between you and the majority of your opponents, then remember to turn it off so you don't give away your position. Now alternatively, you can also go ahead and pick one of the other accessories. Now I do feel that the accessories are quite lacking in Battlefield 4 when compared to all the different barrel attachments or the different grips you can get for weapons. Essentially you have 3 different laser sights to pick from, 2 different flashlights, 1 laser light and flashlight combined, and apart from that for most of the weapons it's pretty much just canted iron sights or the magnifier. However, for some weapons like the carbines and DMRs, you can get the target detector if you have access to the Final Stand DLC, and of course if you're using a bolt action sniper rifle, you can go for the variable zoom or the rangefinder. So there you have it guys, laser sights, where and when to use them and when to not use them. Hopefully some of you guys out there found this information useful and I taught you a thing or two that you didn't already know. Thank you very much for watching, leave a rating down below if you did find it useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.